Hello. It's been a long time since I've done one of these, but this holiday season is actually a nice time to start back up again because there are some wonderful, lovely, very celebratory astrological aspects. The weather is good. It's the equivalent of warm, sunny days. With a number of planets in Sagittarius, a sign that is known for liking to socialize and for being open and expansive. These planets making a positive aspect to Uranus and Aries, which can bring a little bit of, a little frisson of the unknown, just a little sparkle of something different. It's a really good time to get together with friends, to do something unexpected, to have some fun, to kind of cut loose a little bit and just have a good time. There's also since Mercury, which is also in Sagittarius, is in retrograde, something that gets a lot of play as something really bad, but actually isn't. It is, however, a bad time to conclude important business deals, to make big decisions, to sign contracts or leases, or any kind of important document. It's not a good time for doing any of those things, but it is a good time for, relaxing, having some fun, maybe spending a little me time, and also just enjoying yourself with other people. It couldn't be better. It's the holidays after all. As well, we have Neptune in Pisces making a positive aspect to Jupiter and Uranus in Scorpio. So the only downside of that is that can make it just a little too easy to kind of go to that happy place and then a little farther, to overindulge in alcohol or whatever your chosen substance is. For some signs, that's more of an issue than others, but for everyone, that remains just a little bit too easy of a way out. It's better to use that energy as something in terms of art or in terms of anything that connects you to other people in a more positive way. Doing things for others, charitable works, helping others, whether it's others that you know or others that you don't, and generally speaking, any kind of artistic or spiritual or compassionate endeavor. These are all very well aspected right now. But for once, it's nice to talk about generally positive astrological weather. Now, you may be thinking, that doesn't sound like my life right now. That's because, it's never that simple. First of all, because there are a number of aspects together that make this, if you're in one of the signs that isn't positively affected by this, you may feel like you're a little bit out in the cold, like you're not invited to the party. Everybody else is, but not you. The other thing that's happening, two other things. First of all, Saturn is at the very end of Sagittarius. So if your birthday's at the end of Sagittarius, you probably feel good. You probably feel like, oh God, finally, like starting to feel like yourself again. And starting to feel like a new, like recreated, more, in some sense more youthful, whatever your age is, sense of yourself. But if your birthday is at the beginning of Capricorn, that's basically from December 21st through to the end of December, around December 21st, you might be feeling a little heavy. It could be a very positive time in a certain sense. You could be experiencing tremendous success, recognition, but it's going to still be, you'll still have stuff to deal with. It's still one of those times of reckoning, of kind of coming to terms with yourself and what you're doing and all that kind of thing. So that's true if your birthday's at the beginning of Capricorn, or if your birthday's at the beginning of in the early parts of Libra, Aries, or Cancer. You might be feeling any of these things. Even though certainly if you're in Aries later in the sign, this is generally a very good time for you, if a little bit like unconventional or a little different or requiring a little more independence. And if you're a Libra or Cancer, there's, there's good and bad in here too, regardless of where in the sign you are. The other thing that's also happening is that there's been an ongoing aspect between Pluto in Capricorn and Uranus in Aries that's now added to with Jupiter in Scorpio that brings up a time of reckoning in, oh, this is going to be a surprise to no one, areas of sex and sexuality and the abuse of power. So, but Scorpio issues, which are the issues that are coming up, also have to deal with things like debt. They also have to do with like secrets, issues that like perhaps you have tried to hide or have been or didn't know about or were trying not to deal with. So you could be one of the signs that is experiencing this kind of time of reckoning. And this is more global than just being any one particular sign, even though one could point to different signs. But because there are societal aspects that this plays into, this could hit any of a number of people. But so you could feel like there's some heavy stuff that you're dealing with that makes it difficult for you to really truly engage in the overall festive atmosphere that you may still sense is available, but feels available but inaccessible. And some of the, and as I already said, some of the astrological signs too just inherently don't feel that connected to the overall joyous atmosphere. But overall, generally speaking, the astrological weather is fun, and to some extent, almost everyone should feel some part of this. And the signs that are most positively affected by this would generally be the fire signs, Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. And especially from the mid to later part of the sign. Leo in particular has to watch out for the tendency to overindulge. And with Aries, there's also a little bit of more of a sort of edge to it, where it can be a little different than they expect, but still very good. Some of the signs that would be having more difficulty would be Virgo in particular, Pisces perhaps, and Gemini. And again, the difficult with Pisces and Gemini, they could also, and Virgo too, you could be experiencing like extra exhaustion and sort of a sense of like just not being able to kind of pick yourself up as well. If you're one of the signs that is having a good time right now, that is able to really truly enjoy the positive astrological aspects, I don't really have to say that much to you, other than, as I already said, it's a little too easy to overindulge, and with Mercury in retrograde, one has to be really careful about transportation issues, so definitely do not drink and drive. It's always a bad time for it, but this is really a bad time for it. But otherwise, it's a great time, so enjoy yourself. Now, what happens if you're one of these other signs that is not having such a great time of it? So the aspects that help you out of it are aspects that have to do with, generally speaking, they're Neptunian aspects. So they can be spiritual. They can have to do with compassion for yourself and others. They can be creative, as we already said. They can be overindulging, but we don't want to go there. And to some extent too, we have the Scorpio aspect, so that has to do with embracing what is difficult, embracing the sort of dark side, and kind of diving into what perhaps you might normally want to run away from and what seems frightening, and kind of coming out the other side with a transformative experience. So the way through this is to let go of your ego to some extent, and this can mean any of a number of things. It can mean helping others. It can mean, as I said, anything that connects you to others in a bigger way. And it could mean certain kinds of spiritual practices, like the Tibetan Buddhist practice of Tonglen, where in spite of the fact that you may feel like you are alone, you alone are the only one going through like this awful time. Everybody else is having a good time, but you feel desperate, alone, struggling, whatever. That has to do with recognizing the fact that what you're experiencing is a human suffering, that you're in the same boat, as they say, with many, many others, and exploring the development of compassion for yourself and for all these others who are also in that same boat with you. So you breathe in the difficult feeling and really feel it, really experience it, really know it for yourself and for all the others feeling this, and you breathe out some sort of relief, whatever form that takes. The other sort of spiritual approach or practice would be that you have an opportunity, as your ego gets battered, as that construct that we all have of self, of me, that has to do, that we create with a sense of like what we look like, what our position in the world, our status with our family, our status with work, our achievements or our lack of achievements, our memories, our past, how we judge our past experiences, our projections into the future, our hopes. All these things, all these ideas, all these constructs of who we are that we create, that creates the me, the self. What you're going through right now may be battering this. You may feel like there's nothing that, like you can't, your identity as you created it is being attacked. And the kind of backhanded opportunity that is then handed to you to either, the life raft that you can either grab onto or sink, is to ask yourself, like, who am I other than this self that I've created? Whatever answers you come up with are, of course, the right ones for you. The biggest answer that is pointed to in spiritual practices is that you are none of these things. You're pure awareness. That one thing, the fact of being aware, that you have no choice over. You're always aware. You're even aware when you sleep. You can't choose to be aware or not aware. You have, whatever it is, whether it's good or bad, you're aware of it. Do you know what you're thinking right now? Of course you do, because you're aware of your thoughts. That awareness, that's the one constant, that regardless of what is happening, you are aware, and that pure awareness is your nature. And all that other stuff is changeable. All the ideas of who you are, is like everything that happens. It all is constantly subject to change. So, with this horrible ego-battering time, you are given the rare and wonderful opportunity / necessity to try to connect to your true nature, which is, of course, awareness. Short of that, you can get lots of sleep and take good care of yourself and take care of other people as well. Try to find something that helps you connect to people on a level that is more meaningful and deeper, and that helps yourself and others at the same time. And that will probably open the gateway for you to enjoy some of the delightful holiday energy that is around. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday, and I will be back in the new year.